Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Robert, and today I want to discuss storing Mistfall and Heart of the Mist's content all sleeved in the Mistfall core box. So every time I get a game that has this much content, sleeving it and also trying to make it fit back in the box can be a bit of a challenge, but I always enjoy puzzling with that, and I want to discuss some of the pieces that I used to make that happen. So I'm gonna put this box top over here. All right, so we got all the rule books here and also some extra printed material. Okay, so first thing is the character decks. So what I use for this, so we got three stacks here of three characters each that are about this high when you stack them and fit them in there. So what I used here, I used sleeve kings for all the character cards and gear reward cards, and then I used soft ultra pro sleeves for everything else. But I also use these bags, so I try not to throw these out when I open sleeve packaging, because I know that they can be useful um, when organizing. So I took a bunch of these, and they are perfect. That way, I don't have to use deck boxes or anything like that or dividers. I simply keep these, and they were perfect once you sleeve them with sleeve kings, which are a bit thinner. They're not quite soft sleeves. They're kind of an in between, and the character decks fit perfectly back in there. All right, and then you have the last row there of three, so they all fit back in here. Okay. Now there is a 10th character, so I just have to put it here. All right, I couldn't fit it neatly there, but there's another one. These are these are tiny food containers from the dollar store, and these are a staple when I organize things. I used one for the stand and the health tokens, and one for the gold tokens. All right, and they both fit back in here. Now, speaking of, let's mention this insert, right? So the game comes with a white insert. I typically dislike the brown cardboard of the inside of the boxes. So if a game comes with an insert, I'll try to use it when I can. I just think it looks a bit better. So what I did here was I took the insert and folded it and added a bit of tape. Let's see if you can see that there. I added a bit of tape to close this flap and folded it. Also, I added a piece of tape to close these two flaps together, and it gives me this square shape. So I didn't know if that was going to turn out good, but as it happens, when you do that, that way you don't have to throw away the insert, right? When you do that, it gives you this almost square shape, and it gives you this gap on the right where you can fit all of the character boards right there. So see, perfect. And the box doesn't the box closes fine. It doesn't leave a gap or anything like that. So this stores here very neatly, and it includes everything. As I mentioned earlier, it's all Heart of the Mist and the original Mistfall content. It all fits back in there. All right, and then just you have these cardboard tiles just for Heart of the Mist and Mistfall, and they fit back in there. These are the gear reward cards. Now, when using sleeves that are not soft, or that are not soft, these are sleeve kings. I allow myself to put them in bags like this, right? But if you use soft sleeves, you have to be careful, because depending on how you store soft sleeves, if things move around too much inside of the box, they'll end up like this. Let me show you. So see this right here. So when any kind of pressure is put on top of the soft sleeves, they over time they're gonna bend like this, and I just hate how that happens. So if you decide to use soft sleeves, you have to use a hard box preferably. So what I did here was everything that's in a soft sleeve, which are the encounter cards and time cards and whatnot. So everything that is in a character card soft sleeves, just to sleeve it on a budget. I reused this dragon shield box. So there's another thing that I always hoard. I don't buy these as much because they're expensive. I try not to. I use them very sparingly. Um, but I never throw away these boxes because I know that eventually I could reuse them. So fits back in there nicely. All right, and that way, if you put it here at the top, and you also have to be careful of how you store the box. I also pay attention to the orientation in which I store the box. But if you keep it in there, there's not going to be anything heavy on top of the soft sleeves. All right, so this is the other character card I was talking about. Then you have these are dollars, or well, not dollar store, but these are cheap crayon boxes. So I'm using this for the different colored enemy cards. Okay. And I use soft sleeves for this. And again, what I mentioned earlier with soft sleeves, you have to protect the top from this happening, right? Like if anything sits on it like this over time, it's gonna bend the top of the soft sleeve. So there you go. Like this perfectly protects that, and I also have it split between the different colors. So you have the green one, the red one, and the dark gray or blue one here. Okay, and there you go. So you got that there. All right, and then finally, so this is just an extra component that isn't really used. And finally, this is just from the hardware store. And if you go to dollar stores, they'll sell these tiny boxes, and they're full of nails, and you can just remove the nails and put them in a jar for home projects. And I keep the box for board game storage. So for $1 you can get each of these, right? But that pretty much is it. So hopefully that'll give you some ideas for storing other games. I always try to reuse the insert, keep these. Oh, and I forgot to mention this. So that right there, what I did was I find the Dragon Shield logo, like it stands out like a sore thumb. So I have this carbon fiber roll that I use for I use it for many things, and one thing is if I want to take a component and reuse it and make it neutral, so that it doesn't stand out. Like if I want to reuse it in another game, I can just cover it in that, and it'll make it neutral. So that way, it's not distracting. Because this box could be from another board game, and just so that it doesn't stand out too much, I can just cover it in carbon fiber tape, and it'll be more neutral. So that I almost forgot to mention. So yeah, that always try to hoard boxes when I can. These things I recommend you just store them somewhere that can be useful for storing your games, and reusing that plastic instead of wasting it. And the inserts, yeah, I always mess around and fold and with the inserts and see if I can reuse them, just to avoid the ugly, just naked cardboard of the box. And yeah, so that pretty much is it. So we fit everything back in here, all right? And you should even have room, because I know that there's some extra content that is extremely rare, like the expansion, the encounters content. And there's also miniatures, I think. So, but there is a bit of extra room, as you can see here. Okay, there is a bit of extra room here that maybe you should be able to fit that. But there you go, folks, and it all fits neatly back in there. And you just close it, and there you go. Yeah, so that's storing all Mistfall and Heart of the Mist back in the Mistfall box. Hope you learned something from that for storing your own games, and thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, any questions, any feedback, please put them in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.